Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Arnie Diaz Show. Today's show, all good news. That's right, and all just good stuff happening in the world edition of the Arnie Diaz Show. Today I'm going to be talking a lot about solar energy, storing solar energy, and some just really, some good news about climate change. Things are not as dire as they appear. Right, all of these articles I did get from goodnewsnetwork.com. They're just a really good website that goes around and just collects all the really good news stories around the internet. They're really solid. Support them if you can. Give us some AdSense dollars. So I was inspired to do this video because I watched this Kurt Gesund video. Kurt Gesund is a German, I think it's German, I don't know, forgive me if I don't know, but I think it's German, a YouTube channel that always has these really informative, really well-made cartoons about really specific scientific theories or ideas. And they're always really well researched, and I really do trust them as a source. And the videos are just really, really like innocuous, like really nice cartoons. So they're really good for like kids to learn about really interesting stuff. Anyway, they did this video called "We Will Fix Climate Change."
Of planned coal plants have been cancelled, and 44 countries have committed to stop building them. 10 years ago, that would have seemed like wishful thinking, but today we can say with confidence, coal is dying. It's just not competitive anymore, because technologies we thought would remain expensive matured rapidly instead.
And in it, they detailed that over the last 10 years, it has become much cheaper to develop and create and build renewable energy technology to the point where it has now become profitable for a developing company to invest in renewable energy in a way that it had not been before. And that, along with our changing attitude towards climate change, in that most general elections held in the world have climate change as part of the platform of all the candidates. And also the fact that there has been climate change accords or treaties or climate change policies have been enacted in democracies and autocracies around the planet. These changing attitudes towards climate change and the fact that it is more profitable is adding to the fact that we may have stopped how far our damage to the environment will go, and that there is feasible evidence that we may be able to actually reverse some of it through carbon collecting. One of the other things about this video that I really liked is it pointed a light on the fact that us believing that we are doomed and that everything is just done, that we can't do anything, that attitude also contributes to climate change because it contributes to societal apathy, and apathy makes people not want to try to change things. That it's important for us to have hope, because when we have hope, we can actually change things because we're motivated to actually change them. Anyway, I'm going to read you a couple articles about some really interesting innovations in the world of solar and energy collection. Again, these all come from goodnewsnetwork.com. Visit them if you have a minute. First article is entitled, "Radical Solar Breakthrough Allows Energy Now to be Stored for Up to 18 Years, Says Scientist." From the article, quote, "A pair of Swedish scientists designed a microchip that stores solar energy in liquid and shipped it to China, where 3 months later it was converted into electricity. Scientists are hoping to open a Pandora's box of solar-powered electronics and appliances, expanding solar use away from exclusively baseload power generation. A Dutch-Chinese design team looking for a small, simple way of storing solar energy for the market of smaller electronics." Quote from one of the researchers, "This is a radically new way of gathering electricity from solar energy. It means that we can use solar energy to produce electricity regardless of weather, time of day, season, or geographical location. Their design revolves around a scientifically engineered molecule that changes shape when it comes in contact with sunlight, rearranging carbon, nitrogen, and hydrogen to form an isomer, an energy-rich molecule with a different configuration that holds its shape when it is immersed in liquid. A catalyst activates the stored isomer in the liquid to change back into their original forms, releasing heat, generating electricity, hence the technology's name, molecular solar thermal energy." Quote from one of the researchers, "The generator is an ultra-thin chip that could be integrated into electronics such as headphones, smartwatches, telephones." Researchers state, "So far, we have only generated small amounts of electricity, but the new results show that the concept really works. It looks very promising." So this article, this technology that they're talking about, is essentially a way of turning just any vat of liquid into an energy store, which is the chief problem with solar energy. You can create a large vat of liquid with these molecules and essentially turn it into a giant battery and store energy from the entire day that you usually don't use and just use that at night. See, battery technology is like the biggest hurdle in solar energy because you can generate energy all the time, constantly when the sun is out, but you have to use it or it goes nowhere. Being able to store it in basically anything that can be filled up with water is very promising because that's a very cheap way of creating a battery. The next article I'm going to talk about is about expanding the ability for solar panels to use a wider spectrum of light. From the article, German scientists have published details of their new solar panel, calling it the world's most efficient of its type, which uses a wider spectrum of sunlight. Existing solar technologies are made using silicone and cannot be improved much further, which makes it all the more important to find more efficient and more sustainable materials. Combining a new material that contains photovoltaic-based absorbers alongside a carbon-based absorber has measured to be 24% efficient, an increase from 20% seen in current models. Plus, the highly efficient tandem solar cell can be produced at a lower cost than conventional solar cells made of silicone. The solar cell was developed by a team of several scientists at 3 different universities. An increase of efficiency at 24% seems marginal, but in the article they do also say that they believe they can get the efficiency up to 30%, which is a huge step forward. So simply using a different material than silicone to create solar panels, you can make cheaper solar panels that are more efficient. These kinds of innovations are going to make the price of solar panels drop at some point. And in fact, they have dropped significantly. At least in the last 10 years, the cost of solar panels has dropped almost half, if not more. See, solar technology and renewable energy technology is constantly moving forward. It's never stopping. Us as human beings, we can't stop. We constantly move forward in all ways that we can. Now, for the last article I'm going to read from, this one I think is like the coolest one of all of them today. It's about panels that can get energy at night. Quote from the article, "Researchers from Stanford University constructed a photovoltaic cell that harvests energy from the environment during the day and night, avoiding the need for batteries altogether. The device makes use of the heat lurking from the Earth back into space. The device makes use of the heat leaking from the Earth back into space, energy that is on the same order of magnitude as incoming solar radiation. At night, solar cells radiate and lose heat to the sky, reaching temperatures a few degrees below the ambient air. The device under development uses a thermoelectric module to generate voltage and current from the temperature gradient between the cell and the air. This process depends on the terminal design of the system, which includes a hot side and a cold side. The team demonstrated power generation in their device during the day when it runs in reverse and contributes additional power to the conventional solar cell and at night. The setup is inexpensive and in principle could be incorporated within existing solar cells. It is also so simple to construct in remote locations with limited resources that building them in remote locations seems very feasible. This is incredible. Now, this is just a research team at Stanford University, but they proved that they can generate electricity from the ambient waves just coming off of the Earth, flowing into outer space. And they created these cells that you literally just, for the daytime, leave on this side, and on the nighttime, you just flip them over. And it's also a little bit less expensive than conventional. Plus, you can incorporate these in existing solar cells. That right there. The fact that you can put this on your existing solar cells that you already have in your home. Now, this is obviously in its infancy, but the technology is there. And the Stanford Research Group proves that it is possible. So there you have it. A couple good news stories about climate change. And the truth is that we're not completely doomed. Climate change technology is constantly being developed all the time, always. That engine is roaring forward and it is not stopping. And the fact that it is now becoming cost effective to go renewable is a real light at the end of a long tunnel of fear about climate change. Now, there are definitely things that are not reversible, but I do believe that we are not headed towards some inevitable doomsday. We will figure some things out that'll keep us from going that far. Thank you so much for listening, watching. My name is Arnie Diaz. I'm Arnie Diaz89 on all the social media platforms. Thank you.